Okay.
Can do it anyway.
Oh yeah.
Two perimenopausal, it's recording now. Two perimenopausal women waffling.
Welcome,
Um,
fam.
okay, so you might be wondering what this video is. Basically, my name's Nicky LG, the stress specialist, and this is Mel. I'll let her do her introduction in a second, but we get together every week. I guess I don't know, would you call it accountability? I'm not really sure what we call it, Mel.
Yeah, just
Um,
we have a catch up now, don't we?
Just have a catch up, yeah. But it keeps us on track. We both run our own business. It keeps us on track. And we have some really interesting conversations. And we had the idea this week that actually other people might find our conversations useful. So we've decided to record them. Who knows? If you're watching this, then we've decided to put it out on LinkedIn. But if you're not watching it, then you're not hearing what I'm saying. So
You
there
might be
we
missing out.
So yeah, I'm Nikki. I run an organization called the Stress Specialist. I'm a stress management consultant. So I work with businesses to help them reduce absence and engagement, lack of engagement rather, and high levels of maybe staff leaving. Help them reduce that if it's caused by stress, anxiety, kind of well-being related things. I also work with a lot of clients one-to-one, doing well-being coaching. And yeah, all things like that. I'm also a salsa teacher, but that's for another day. And
Mm.
Mel, tell us about you.
So I'm Melanie or Mel, whatever people like to call me. I'm not really bothered. Yeah, I'm the menopause support coach. Um, Started my business just trying to support women through menopause in many ways. And that's through one-to-one coaching, but also offering workplace consultations with leaders and HR managers, just really to make workplaces more menopause friendly. Again, just to support women to keep them in employment because so many women leave the jobs at this stage of life. I am in perimenopause myself. I left a job myself, so I understand completely what women are going through. But I also offer support by teaching men a bit more about menopause.
And they
Um,
so need it.
they so need it. We spoke about this so much, haven't we, Nicky,
Yeah.
that if you can educate men, both just men at home and men in the workplace, and let them know what's going on, then they can support women more. So women feel better supported, so they can cope with the menopause symptoms a lot more as well. So it's not just about coaching and talking to women, it's also coaching and speaking to men and having meaningful conversations to get them to understand what's going on.
It's not even just about them supporting women, it's also about them realizing that they've not done anything wrong. It's not that their partner's fallen out of love with them or hates them or whatever
Yeah.
else. It's they're not doing it intentionally to hurt them or anything like that. I did I ever tell you about the workshop that I delivered? Oh God, it must have been a couple of years ago now, in a school. And so it was not long after I'd done. So I'm one of Melanie's clients as well. You very kindly took me through your. You've got a course, haven't you? You've got like a
Yeah, the
program,
menopause plan. Yeah.
which was amazing. And it was after that that I then went into a school and I delivered a session on stress, but they wanted me to link in menopause because in school, obviously, a lot of teachers fall into that kind of demographic of reaching perimenopause. And I was really impressed because they only had, I think they have 5 male members of staff in that school, and they all came. And
Brilliant.
they were the ones that came to me after the session that were like, oh my God, this has been amazing, so informative. My wife, my partner, etc. I thought that they hated me. I thought this, I thought that, and you've just made so much more sense. And even they were when they were talking about their colleagues, I get it now. I understand why, you know,
Yeah.
um, me making these comments to my colleagues is not helpful, and oh, you've
Mm.
forgotten again, those kind of things. It was honestly, it was so unbelievable the feedback I got from men and how
Yeah.
grateful they were to learn about it.
Well, yeah, do you know what? The thing is that a woman going through menopause is gonna put pressure on the man in their life as well, whether that be a colleague or husband or boyfriend, partner. Um, they're gonna get stressed. You're probably seeing clients yourself one
Yeah,
to one
I do.
that are suffering because they don't know. If the woman's not open and talks about it as well, I'm an open person, so I mean, I tell my husband absolutely everything. I don't think he likes it sometimes. Maybe share too much.
Good on
Um,
that.
but yeah, but yeah, I think if they understand, if you can try and make them understand what's going on, or even just say this is happening to me, um, at least they know. If you don't say anything and I mean, not all women have every symptom, I know, but one of the symptoms is rage. You get a building rage inside you that
Yeah.
you can't control. And who do you take that out on? You take it out on the people
Nearest and
closest to
dearest,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to cause them stress, which will also show up in the workplace because if
Yeah.
a man's stressed with his relationship, he's then going to work the next day thinking,
Yeah.
oh God, I don't know what's happening. Is my marriage breaking down? But I don't
Yeah.
know why. And then they struggle to
It
cope with
has
their
such a knock-on
jobs. And
effect.
yeah,
Don't
so
don't you think, like, I mean, stress and menopause go hand in hand, don't they? And like
yeah,
there's science behind it, which, whether or not we talk about it, we'll see. But don't you think, like, I don't know about you, but I only ever started learning about menopause and perimenopause. I only knew about it after I'd probably been in it for about 2 years and was thinking, am I developing Alzheimer's?
yes,
Like I had no clue. And that was stressful in itself because I was thinking, oh my God, I'm not even 50 and I'm struggling and
yeah,
what's going on. That's, for 50% of the UK or for the world, that's huge and has a knock-on effect on absolutely everything. It's a huge amount of
yeah,
stress. And I'm so grateful it's in the news and stuff now, but it wasn't like even just sort of 5, 10 years ago, it wasn't
no.
a thing.
No, that's what I was going to say because if you think about it, all the women that are in this stage now, people of our age group,
Yeah.
it wasn't spoken about. Even,
No.
I mean, maybe some
And it
people
still
probably
isn't
did, but
sometimes.
it's not really. People hear the word menopause all the time, so they think that
Hot
it's
flush.
spoken about. Yeah, they think of, oh, menopause, it's just a hot flush. They hear the word all the time now. You go into a shop and everything's menopause this and menopause that, and that's really just a money making thing. So
Yeah.
women fall for it. Um, but yeah, we hear about it, but we're not actually talking about it.
We
We're
don't
not
know,
having
we don't
the
know anything about it.
conversations.
Yeah.
No,
And
and it hits you like a ton of bricks if you don't know
it
what's
really
coming.
does. Yeah. And you just have no clue. And I think one thing, I mean, I know you were saying a big part of what your work is working with men, which I think is amazing. I found a lot of the men that I've spoken to with one-to-one clients, and they've come to me because they're stressed. And, one of their triggers is their partner. I'm not telling who they
No, don't say
are.
names.
Um, and and as soon as so I will, unofficially, obviously I'm not qualified, but I'll unofficially tell them what I know about menopause and stuff. And they're like, oh, I need to tell my wife this. I don't think she realizes, or I need to tell my partner, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't think she realizes that this is what it could be. And I'm like, okay, well, you need to be really careful how you communicate that.
yeah,
Because if like, because even that um can be particularly for a menopausal or perimenopausal woman who's struggling with rage, the way that they talk
um,
can be, and
a
breathe
big
and do
trigger. Yeah,
everything. Yeah, it can
yeah,
be a trigger. But equally, if you've got a man who's like, no, I get it, I understand. I need to adapt how I communicate, or I need to, maybe start leaving little books around slyly, or, oh, I just heard this today, or something along those lines. Educating men means that more women find out about it as well.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, you can. Yeah, you're right. Because as as a woman, and I don't know. Nowadays, I think people do grow up accepting stress a little bit more, dealing with things a lot more than we perhaps did. Certainly, women of our generation and a bit younger they've got the power through mentality. Let's power through.
Yeah.
So something is wrong with you. You're probably not going to listen to your body, whether that's menopause or stress. To be fair, you just think, oh
And
no,
they're
you've just got
and
to
they're
get on
very
with it.
similar.
Yeah,
Symptoms wise, particularly at the beginning, they're
yeah,
very similar. The amount of before I'll be completely honest and upfront. So when I started doing this kind of work sort of from about well, I mean, although technically the stress specialist started in 2017, I started doing this kind of work probably 2014. And so I didn't know anything about the menopause then. So I was getting loads of clients. And I'll be honest, I've never even mentioned the word menopause or spoke about it or asked their age or anything. And all the symptoms were very similar, like, brain fog, getting angry, getting irritated,
Mm.
emotional outbursts, feeling excessive anxiety, all those kind of, even belly fat, because,
Yeah,
all of these are symptoms of chronic stress.
yeah,
But then when I started finding out about perimenopause, because I was going through it myself, I'm like, oh, it's kind of very, very similar and it's hard to differentiate. So I always now, if it's a woman of a certain age, or even actually of any age, I'll just double check. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, this could also be a factor.
yeah,
And maybe talk to your doctor about, what the options are. But they're so similar. There's such a crossover between what we both, what we're both working with. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, there's slightly different approaches. If it is just stress, then we'd have different strategies. But equally, the kind of strategies I would recommend to a client, I think you use and your
yeah.
clients use.
Yeah, they're very, very similar because when I was training to be a coach, a lot of the stress management tools that we were taught were things that you'd actually taught me when I was one of your clients.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I met you through salsa. You taught me how to
Yeah.
dance. And then, yeah, and then I came to you as a client, a one-to-one client to manage my stress because I've always found stress management quite difficult, and even had illnesses from
Yeah, yeah, you've
being
struggled
in
a
fight
lot,
or
haven't
flight
you?
mode all the time. But yeah, you give me some really good coping strategies that I even use to this day. But they're things that I now talk to my clients about
Yeah,
because the things that I learn, to deal with menopause. I mean, one thing I do, little, I mean, it might be a little tip, I don't know, but I like music. I love
yeah,
music. So you taught me to have a happy playlist.
yeah, yeah,
And I've still got my happy playlist. So if I have days where I am feeling a little bit stressed, anxious, a little bit down, I think, right, put that one on. And it's just all my favourite songs that make me smile. Not everything's upbeat. I
yeah,
try and have a dance around the kitchen. But something so simple,
yeah.
it does really, really help. And yet they're definitely the same techniques, stress management and menopause. With menopause, as you know, your hormones are fluctuating, causing your cortisol level to rise. So your cortisol's high. So you need to get out of that fight or flight mode. And that's
The
what's
way to do,
causing.
yeah, the best way to do it is physically some action.
Yeah,
But I know, I don't think a lot of people, I didn't even realize that estrogen is until I started learning about stress, estrogen is one of the big controllers of cortisol levels.
yeah,
And so, of course, when it drops, it makes sense that our resilience, our ability to kind of tolerate and power through, like you said, all of
yeah.
a sudden diminishes.
I don't know why we feel like we have to power through. I don't know what that
And
is. I don't know what it is within
that's
a woman that,
conditioning, isn't it? It's
yeah.
society, and that's a whole other
Oh, this is
conversation.
really, yeah, opening up a can of
Maybe
worms.
let's not go down that route yet.
Uh,
Another time, maybe. But yeah,
okay.
I think it's really worth people realizing, whatever gender you are, that you will be impacted by both stress and menopause, whether it's directly or indirectly, and you need to be educated on it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think companies need to take this on
Yeah.
board, big organizations, because you
Yeah.
spend most of your time at work. And why we're losing valuable people, either losing them altogether or absence days through stress, through stress or through menopause symptoms. That's
I
that,
I had a really great conversation yesterday. So I one of my clients, I'm going into 1 day a week at the moment, and I'm loving it. It's great because I'm almost becoming kind of part of the team, and I'm having regular one-to-ones. And I've been like there for 2 months, so not a huge amount of time, but I'm already I had two clients yesterday who both said Well, one of them specifically said, if I hadn't had an appointment with you, I would have been off sick now
Yeah.
because he was so struggling. Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Um, and then another one was, I'm so grateful that this is in work because otherwise I don't think I could have come in. And it just shows you that just so and they wouldn't have just been off work for a day, they would have been off work for probably 2 weeks or possibly longer.
Yeah.
And by bringing me in, I've helped prevent that. And
Yeah.
that's just one tiny example.
Yeah.
And again, like bringing you in, for example, into an organization to speak to them about menopause. And um you know sorry if you can hear the dog in the background, he's barking.
Oh, bless you.
But if you've got a woman that, like you say, is struggling and doesn't know how they're going to keep their job, and they're contemplating, resigning or something because they really feel they can't cope, having a conversation with you, or you even educating those around them in their team, could mean you can keep that really valuable asset. it,
Yeah.
it makes really sound business sense
Yeah.
to to have, to really pay attention to these things. You get to keep the good people rather than lose them, and I think that's just
Yeah.
makes such good sense.
And it's much more beneficial to the person that's experiencing it as well if organisations listen, because them having a sick day or 2 weeks, or it's not really helping them.
No,
They can't cope with work anymore, so they maybe need that time. But if you just help them at work, or maybe you organise for them to have someone-to-one coaching in the lunch hour
mm.
or something like that on a Zoom call or anything, um, you're helping them to deal with what's going on rather than just saying, oh, yeah, take some time, because yourself, you just go into yourself, you can get more stressed because you're
Well, you
thinking, oh,
can
I
sit
should
and
be at
ruminate,
work.
can't you? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's a good argument to be had for sometimes you just need a break from everything. But
yeah.
and I would also argue, don't do sessions on a lunch break. Allow them to have their lunch as well as have an hour out. But
Well, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, but equally, I think it's important if, yeah, like you say, if you can get them the help. Um, there, you see, this is my brain fog. I forgot where my point was going. Um,
But yeah, they're going to remain in work,
But
aren't
yeah,
they? They're more
but they're also
supported and
they're
more.
all. It's not just about remaining in work and doing the work. It's also about they're still going to be such an advocate of your company. They're going to be like,
Yeah,
you're an amazing company. You're going to be more likely to be able to recruit the good quality people because the reputation. I mean, it helps in every single area.
it does. Yeah, yeah. Why would you not want to have a happy workforce? Why would
Yeah.
people are more productive when they're happy as well? And
I think a lot of organizations forget. I mean, they might say they know, but actions speak louder than words. I think they forget that people are their most important asset.
yeah,
And it, they wouldn't have a business. For the majority of businesses,
yeah,
they wouldn't have a business without people showing up and giving what they can. And
yeah,
if you can help facilitate that in some way, and you can help make sure that people are fit and well and able and happy, um, to be as productive and effective and bring to the table their gifts. If they're not able to do that, then your company's going to fail.
yeah,
So so provide, and in the grand scheme of things, providing a little bit of coaching or a little bit of education in work time, the world's not going to fall apart, if you've had to pay a bit of extra money or take a bit
no,
of extra time out to do that.
no. I always remember you telling me about a workplace you've been into as well, where I think there was a team that was struggling with absence, and you said about the environment that they were in, and straight
Oh, the
away,
light. Yeah.
straight away you spotted the environment, and that's something that people are going about the day-to-day business, and they're not realizing little things like that. It could be something so simple
I've
that
had a
someone could
couple
do.
actually. Yeah, that there was one that was in it was a call center in Scotland, and there was a massive warehouse, and there was the flickering light above, and that was causing it. And then they did email me, like I say, they didn't believe me at first, and then they
No,
emailed me like afterwards and said, "Oh yeah, we got the light changed, and yeah, there's no more absence." But then I had another organization actually in the centre of Leeds, and they just moved to new offices, and they were really proud of this office, but it was all strip lights, white walls,
oh,
and and all the tables were all almost like back to back, but in a row down the middle. And it was a really cold environment.
Yeah.
And but everyone was kind of near each other. But it was a lot of designers and things like that where they had to concentrate and they couldn't do it. But the strip lights were right over the screen. So all of a sudden they started getting absence because of headaches and stuff because it was just the light bouncing off. And I'm like, no, you need to move things around. You need to maybe put some images on the walls to soften it a bit. You need to, it was bright white and bright white LED lights on a bouncing off a screen. It's not going to work. And
Yeah.
people are going to struggle with that.
I wonder if something that it's literally just come into my mind because there's a lot of people that work from home nowadays. Do
Yeah.
you ever get involved with that? Because obviously people's working environments at home, maybe organizations need to sort of get involved and think, what are they work, how are they working from home? Is that productive? Is it a productive environment that they're working in? Or I don't
I
know, is that a
I don't talk about it with organizations. I mean, not since COVID. In COVID, I kind of did a few conversations and a bit of training about it. But basically, and I think even when you came to my session a few months ago, we talked about the power of environment, and I know you changed your office a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I think when I have one-to-ones, I will say to people, if you are working from home, so to give you an example, I do a lot of one-to-ones with teachers.
right.
And so, it's kind of par for the course. A lot of teachers have to take work home. But I'll say to them, right, if you're gonna, I mean, obviously wherever possible, don't take work home. But if you do have to take work home, make sure that you're not sat on the sofa where you'd normally relax, or even worse, on your bed doing work, um, but that's maybe
Which I'm
stressing you
doing at
out
the
or whatever.
moment.
I know, but that's
Yeah,
a slightly different reason, and it's a
yeah,
short-term thing.
yeah.
Um, but I think what you don't want to do is anchor your places of sanctuary, your places of rest and whatever else. You don't want to start anchoring them to work slash stress.
Yeah, you did speak about that in this month's networking event that you did as well,
Yeah.
actually, with the sleep. We
With a
talked
sleep,
about the
yeah.
sleep, didn't we? And you did
Yeah.
say you don't anchor your bedroom to anything other than sleep, really,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I found that really, really interesting.
Because our brain is looking for those signals all the time of so that it can kind of go on autopilot. What does this mean? And if you all of a sudden, even just like if you work from your laptop and then you go and watch something in bed on your laptop, even the fact you're using your laptop could be seen as your brain's like, oh, work,
Yeah,
and so you don't switch off. You've got to be really mindful. So, for example, for those people who aren't fortunate enough, obviously I have an office, you have an office, but not everybody has. And if they don't, I'm like, okay, well, if you're using your kitchen table, for example, just put a different cloth on it, or use a different side to where you would normally sit, or just differentiate it enough so that it anchors in a slightly different way, so that then when you step away from it, your brain goes, okay, we're not working anymore, or we're not doing XYZ. And it's silly things like that, and when you're working from home, you've got to put those boundaries in place to help minimize stress. And again, you know there's all kinds of ways of doing that. I mean, it could be having lighting a certain candle, or it's not
mm,
just it's not just the physical space. It could be what you're smelling, what you're listening to. You might not have your happy playlist on, for example. You might have, when I want to concentrate on work, I have it's the Bridgerton playlist.
yeah.
All the instrumental stuff.
Yeah, well, I started listening to classical music while I'm
Yeah.
working, and I've
Yeah.
never listened to classical music in my life, and I find it really focuses me.
Yeah.
So that's on in the
And
background when I'm
there's
working.
evidence to support that, isn't there? There's a lot of evidence that because it wakes up the right hand side of the brain as well as the left, and they kind of work together a lot more effectively, or something. Don't
Right.
don't quote me on the science, but
I'll have to have a look at that.
there's something in there.
Right.
But yeah, it's just again this awareness for the little things. It's not like some big radical change,
No,
but I think that applies for both what you do with your clients and what I do with my clients. It's the little things, but you don't know what you don't know. And
no.
the benefit of hiring maybe you or me is, okay, well, we'll tell you what you don't know.
yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
We can see it, and we've
And we've
both
lived
lived
it.
it. Yeah.
I think the beauty of our businesses is that we both come from it from a place of lived experience.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
both come into it because actually we don't want people to suffer in the way that we suffered. I know you've had a pretty rough perimenopause journey, and even prior to that, the stress thing.
Yeah.
And the reason I got into this work was because I'd had a massive breakdown. So, I think it's really important to I think we offer a sense of empathy that maybe a lot of people miss.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think if I was to, I mean, when I had a menopause coach myself before I was one,
Mm.
it was somebody that had gone through a very similar journey to what I was
Yeah.
going through, because I needed somebody that can empathize with me. And I know there's lots of people out there doing this work, my work, your work, but if they've not lived it, how do they know? How do they know? It's all right. It's great. You get qualifications and you learn things. And yes, we need that education, we need that learning, but you do need to have that experience of it to be able to
You need to
fully
feel
empathize.
heard.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And women, I find, oh, I've got a dying wasp on my desk.
Oh,
Sorry, I thought, what's that moving? And there's a dying wasp. It'd be all right there. Um,
I mean, it won't be if he's dying, but
well,
yeah.
no, it looks like he's dying. Poor thing. I'll see if what I can do with it afterwards. Um, it's lost my train of thought altogether now. But yeah, I just think, yeah, being able to, we were talking about empathizing, weren't we? Being able to know what somebody's going through. Women are the worst judges I found in menopause because, I mean, 80% of women have menopause symptoms. So those are the 20% that just breathe through menopause.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they've gone through menopause because the periods have stopped, but they just say, oh, I don't know what your issue is, it's just menopause. Or you might get there's a small percentage of people that just have the odd hot flush here and there. And I'm not diminishing, the importance of
Not,
what they're going through, but if that's all they experience, how
yeah,
do they know the crippling
yeah.
anxiety and the
No.
brain fog and
The thing is, like, I'm really pleased for them that they don't struggle.
yes,
It's great for them, but we still need to educate and say you're in the minority. It's the same with people that, oh, why are you stressed about that? It doesn't bother you. People have to recognize we all go through, no person's menopause journey is the same.
no,
You know, they can, for some reason, they can accept that with pregnancy and they can accept that with all those things. Why not menopause?
why not menopause?
Everyone's periods are different. Everyone's, and even like with what I do, everyone experiences stress in a different way. Some
Yeah,
people might get banging headaches. Some people, like I say, can cope with loads of stuff and they're fine until they hit 60, and then all of a sudden they're having heart attacks and high blood pressure. Um, and some people have really like digestive problems,
yeah,
skin problems. Some people just get irritable and cry all the time. It's so different for everyone, which is why I think education is so important. Like
yeah,
we need to open up everyone's eyes and say, look, this is very real. And it isn't a case of, it's not like, chicken pox where you get these spots and everyone gets the spots. It's not
yeah,
like that
no,
for any, because both menopause and the stress response are natural functions in the body. They're not external things that come in. They're things that happen
yeah,
quite naturally in the body, and they're supposed to happen, both of them.
yeah. I mean, we just chatted about before we came on here, didn't we? About pain, and it's a similar
Yeah.
thing, isn't it? If you know how to handle it and you've got the tools to handle it, it becomes less of an issue. It becomes easier to live with.
It can become less of an issue. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
think that, don't
can.
get me wrong, I think there are people who experience excruciating pain,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. But I think, yeah,
And the same with stress. There's people that will need more than just, some basic tools to go off and deal with it themselves. That there are people that need a lot more
mm,
help out than there's people that need more
yeah.
than others.
And it's
Um,
not, and even, there are people who the menopause will absolutely cripple them.
Yeah.
And then there are other people that, like you say, breeze through and feel like nothing's happened at all.
And then expect you to
I
just
hate
get
them.
on with it. Yeah, yeah. What's wrong with you? Get on with it. So you've had a hot flush. Well, actually, no, I don't get hot
I
flushes.
don't get hot flushes either. How weird is
I,
that?
I
Yeah,
know.
I had at the beginning, I did have a bit where I think I told you it was like I couldn't regulate my temperature. So if I
Yeah,
did get hot through natural means, like I remember going up, there was a tube station in London, I was with my daughter, and we had to go up like 120 steps or something. And so by the time I got to top, unsurprisingly, I was really hot, which you would expect because it was a summer's day as well. But then it took me about 5 hours to cool down.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And
You
that's
can't
even with a
regulate.
cold shower. It was like I just couldn't calm
Yeah,
down.
I'm the other way. I'm always cold, like freezing. I get really cold, and once I say to Marcus, "Oh, my bones are cold now," so that's it. And he, oh gosh, the heating's going on, and it's 25 outside. But yeah, I get so cold, I just can't
Yeah,
get warm again.
yeah,
It's like the opposite. So
yeah,
there's so much going on.
yeah.
I mean, women's bodies are weird and wonderful things, aren't they?
They really are. They really are. But so in terms of, I guess, wrapping up this call,
Yeah.
I know we've probably gone a bit longer than we said. I
Waffled
think,
on.
and we'll see whether people, please do let us know in the comments or whatever if this is of any interest to you, and we can go into different topics. But I love our conversations because even though we've known each other for a long time, even though we've both been each other's clients, we still learn new stuff all the time.
Yeah, yeah, we really do. Yeah,
And I mean, it's not always about stress or menopause. There's all kinds of other things that we talk about too. Some of them we might not want to put on here, but
no,
um, I think weirdly, having these conversations is a big part of what helps us both.
yeah, and I think other people just listening and realizing that there are other women out there, even men going through these. I mean, maybe we'll drag some men in sometimes, because
Mark.
yeah, let's get Mark involved. I mean, he's somebody that deals with stress. If he can bottle up what he's got and sell it, he'd be a millionaire. I don't know anybody that deals with stress like that man does. It just, I
It
don't
rolls
know.
off him.
Yeah, I just,
Well,
yeah,
let's hope it
it
is
just,
rolling off him and it's not building up to kicking him in the butt when he's
but,
60.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, hopefully, just knowing that there's people out there
Yeah,
sort of going through the same, I think it was always a big help for me to listen to other people and just chat and just know that there are people out there that are experiencing the same. You don't feel as isolated then. So
yeah, absolutely. Brilliant.
been lovely.
Right. Yeah, it has. I love our little chats. Right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Let us know if you
Bye.
like.
Yeah.